Hey everyone, welcome back to the It's a Mind Game podcast. My name is Jade, and today I'm so excited to have my beautiful friend Odalis back on, who joined us in episode 38, which I can't believe was posted on April 4, 2021. So, goodness, nearly a year ago. And in that episode, she shared with us her journey from being an IFBB pro through to HA recovery. And so I highly recommend visiting that one first for one, but now she's back to share with us what happens from that year after to 2 years. Welcome.
Hi, Jade. How are you?
I'm so good, and I'm so excited to be talking with you.
Girl, I missed you, but I have been watching all your YouTube videos now that you've been posting. So I'm actually so happy to see that women are out there expressing what they're going through and sharing their journey. Because I feel like there's so many ways that we can interpret and take our experiences, but how to overcome HA. I don't feel like there's one exact way of doing things. So now people actually have a host of information now. When I feel like I started my recovery, it was limited. And again, it's only 2 years ago. So now I feel like it's so much more out there. So from your show to Flow with what is her for Flo? I forgot her name. I know she does a channel that she's awesome into. And there's a few others. I just can't remember names. But there's a few others, and it's like I started with only finding 2 people to now if I look up HA recovery, there's so many. So it's kind of cool to see it growing and that it's people are making an awareness of it. And also just anything, female athlete triad issues, which is related, eating disorders, which I feel like is an underlining situation to it. It's like it's not one reason or one thing that causes HA. I feel like it's a host of things. So now people can actually look at your channel and see so many women, different reasons of why they got it, and can kind of hopefully recover on their journey now.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up because that's 2 incredible things that's been really interesting about the podcast so far is that one, I've found that honestly, 99% of women that I reach out to and say, hey, would you be keen to share your story? Say yes, and are really excited to do so. And second of all, how unique everyone's recovery is. So a lot of women do go all in, but their all in looks very different. Like for some, it's still walking and doing yoga. For some, it's like, nah, unless it's walking because of my job or because I'm taking the dogs out, that's it. And then for others, they can keep training, or maybe they do one HIIT workout a week. Like it's so individual. And I find that at the core of all of that is that personal growth and finding their identity outside of their fitness routine tends to be the one specific thing that remains consistent amongst all the journeys. Given what you went through, do you find that that's something that was really at the core of your experience as well, is sort of working out who you were again outside of that fit identity?
I'm going to say yes and no. And so it's a little bit of it, but I think it was more to it. So if we're going to rewind back to 2 years ago, the first reason why I decided, let me just do this, and I went all in, was for my daughter. So I noticed that it was taking a toll on me, on my lifestyle. So I couldn't, I didn't even compete for like 3 years. Okay. And I was getting leaner and leaner and leaner. I think the competition made me eat more or slow down, because my coaches would tell me, you're doing too much, or you need to eat more, or you're looking too stringy or whatever. It got to the point where if I didn't see veins or I didn't start seeing more saturations or anything like that, like I wanted the muscles to pop more and more and more. Mind you, I was a size 0 already. What muscles was popping out, I don't know. But to me, in my head, delusions or whatever, I didn't see myself to be skinny. I saw it as, I'm muscular, or I don't know. I had this weird fascination at that point, or whatever. But my daughter, I noticed that I started waking up late to take her to school. I had to switch clients for work. Like I would have to go in on a weekend instead because I missed a client or something like that. Like my life just wasn't organized anymore. It was a struggle for me to get off bed. I couldn't hold a relationship nor wanted one. That was also another thing that kind of factored in. I always knew I wanted to eventually get married, build my family, and let my daughter see what a mommy and daddy looks like, having a family united. And I feel like competing kind of made push that away a little bit, because I was hiding from whatever I went through before. And then I don't know, I just feel like I was not giving her the best life. Like I was starting to force myself to get off, like I said, bed or do any activities. She was my push. So no matter what, I would make sure I did it. Like I got things done. But I noticed it was starting to slow down. Like it wasn't the same hyper energetic, loving Odaly anymore. I couldn't think. I feel like my body was just shutting down. I don't know if that's happened to you. I feel like I couldn't function. And all I would think about was food. I can't even lie. All I would think about was food, and it was causing some really bad habits that I couldn't even stop anymore. And I wouldn't understand it. I would put blame on myself. Like if I had a binge episode or anything like that, I would be like, oh, it's me. It's because I'm not strong anymore. I can't do it or whatever. And I'll just go crazy and then live in the gym for 4 hours, that day, the next day, I mean. So it was not a lifestyle that was sustainable, and I feel like it was affecting my kid. So that was why I was like, no, that's it. January 1st of 2020, I decided to get recovered. The first New Year's, me and my daughter had a conversation, and we went to KFC.
I love it.
Not that I recommend that. It's just we were craving biscuits. Don't ask. But it was that moment. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was the best relief. I felt like 100 pounds lighter. What just that one move of going with my daughter and just laughing. We were eating in the household. We were like picnicking in the living room, watching TV, and then hearing music. So it was kind of like a mix of the two, and eating our food. And I just felt like I can eat, enjoy, and laugh with her. And I was actually in the moment instead of rushing through my foods. And I mean, listen, there was highs and lows after that. Remember from the last podcast, I was going crazy. I feel like my hormones were all over the place, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. And again, everybody has their own story. So why do you want to do it? Do you want to have a child? Do you want to just feel normal again? Do you want to feel freedom? Is there somebody that's motivating you? Do you want to fall in love? Like what is it you're looking for? And I feel like if your head isn't right, you can't get anything you want. So I had to just find the old me again. And the old me was this bubbly woman that needed to come back out. So that's why I did it.
Yeah. And obviously, if we look back at that first episode, we can sort of see the transitions that you went through to go through All In and evolve through that time. And obviously you got your period back. And one of the main motivations for us sort of coming together today was, I guess, so many women, when they're in the HA recovery space, whether they're all in or half in, or even just sort of investigating things at the moment, a common thing that comes up is, I can't imagine what my life is like without the behaviors I'm currently doing, or I can't imagine what life is going to be like in 6 months, 12 months. I know I want the baby. I know I want to not be hungry anymore. I know I don't want to live at the gym, or they sort of know what they don't want, but envisioning what their future could hold seems either 1, overwhelming, 2, impossible, or 3, just like too difficult, too far away from them. If you look at like what your life is like now, is it something that you ever predicted when you're sort of in that HA space, or how is it different to what you expected?
I actually want to say something first, something you said that I love. Thinking about what you want. That's the key right there. I stopped thinking about what I don't want. I started thinking more about what I do want. So we're thinking always, I don't want to gain weight. I don't want, right? I don't want to change my lifestyle. I don't want the sacrifice. I don't want the negative effects. These I don't are negative. They're negativities. They're negatives. So I had to learn how to rewire my subconscious to what I want and manifest what I want, which I know Mimi spoke a lot about that the last time. I got into this whole thing from watching The Secret. And to this day, I would advocate that for everybody, The Secret and The Greatest Secret. And then now, like, just hearing so much podcasts on positivity and just remembering who we are, and going for your wants instead of thinking so much about what you don't want. So I knew what I wanted. And I told you, I want to be married. I want to have a family. I want to be happy. I want memories. I don't want to always live in a gym. And don't get me wrong, I, to this day, work out now every day. but I do it smarter in the sense of I know if I'm out there, I have to make sure I'm refueling my body back. And if I don't want to be there, I stay home. And right now, things are just so much more calmer. So for me right now, personally, so I can take the advantage of going for extra walks or whatever and not have a side effect to it. So it's not stopping the lifestyle that I love. It was just putting it on pause to truly recover, not on a short time period, but on a real time period. So my recovery was almost 8 to 10 months of all in eating, not losing weight. I went up from, am I allowed to say numbers here?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So from 130 pounds, 135 pounds, let's say hypothetically, because I don't even know, it kept going from down and up all the time, to always 183 pounds, to now stabilizing at around 142 pounds, looking the best I've ever looked and feeling the best I've ever felt, and not dieting, by the way.
That was going to be my next thing. It's like, because everyone thinks the rebound effect happens, like you gain all the weight and then women start to restrict, and that's why their body takes its new form. But it actually tends to be, if you speak to a lot of women, is no, you get to that sort of high point of your weight and then your body just calms down, your appetite settles, you can introduce exercise, and then you start to watch this weight drop. And it is a positive experience because you're not trying for it. You're just caring for yourself really well. And your body goes, oh, okay. Is that what you experienced with that weight fluctuation? Like it crept up, and then it gradually just fell?
It didn't creep up, girl. That thing went straight up. I blew up so bad. I had edema. My stomach was so, like, I looked pregnant. Like it was out here. It was bad. I posted all this on my Instagram, by the way, so people could literally go back. I did not hide anything. People even said, wow, you were very bold to have put those photos up. I was like,
I think we need it though, because everyone's journey is different, and some don't have that experience and some do. And there shouldn't be any sort of discomfort or shame attached to the ones that do, because it's just the process. And we can't pick or choose what our body does.
Yeah. And I feel also there's nothing wrong with weight. Like there's a reason why we go through it. Just like when you get pregnant, the body knows what it's doing and there's a purpose for it. Now, okay, listen, I'm not here to advocate to anybody and say, oh, go eat so much junk food all the time and go become obese or whatever the case may be. No, I don't think there's a scale, right? And there's a scale. You want to be here. You don't want to be here and you don't want to be here. You want to be right in the middle. And that's the problem. And I feel like there's also too much of, oh, now that she's lost the weight, if she tries to do a diet, she's gonna go right back to her old ways, or this and this and that. Like there's so much negativity on any aspect of what we want to do, and people have to stop that. It's the mental stress, I think, that affects us in everything, because when we're overthinking, just do things and do it smart. Take whatever you've learned and move forward from that, and take the experience and learning and whatever, and don't do it again. That's all I can say, because you're human. There's going to be days where you might want to lose 5 pounds for something, I don't know, but it doesn't make you a bad person. But again, don't take it to the extreme where, all right, now I lost 5 pounds, I need to go lose 10 more, I need to go lose 20 more. There's give and take here. It's about balancing. It's about being smart. Do you really need to lose that 5 pounds? Do you feel good? What difference is it going to do if you lost 5 pounds? Like things like that. You have to question yourself. What are you looking for, and how are you trying your best to stay healthy? So when I do anything right now, I became obsessed with tracking. I'm always analytical and everything. So that doesn't stress me out. If that stresses you out, don't do it. If you're a person that tracking your food or whatever triggers you and it will stress you out, don't do it. Stay away from it. The scale triggers you, stay away from it. You have to be smart and analyzing yourself. And I think this is a growth process mentally. I feel like every month or few months, I would say, I've grown more and more. So if you put me last year to this year, even from when I was recovered, it's a completely different Odaly. I can do things now. Like I wasn't tracking for a whole year. I track now, but I do it for fun. I do it for data.
So when you say tracking, do you mean you're tracking your cycle, you're tracking your food, you're tracking both?
So, okay, I wanted to make sure that I'm actually eating and enjoying food, and then I get to do more, like if I want to. So I do have days where I track my meals, but not in an obsessive way. For example, if I'm eating extra cheese, I just eat the extra cheese. I'm not competing. So it's more for fun. Again, it doesn't trigger me. If it triggers you, don't do it. I don't care if my thing goes to 3,000 calories. I don't care if it goes to 3,500. I haven't eaten. I'm not even gonna lie. I am full over 2,500 calories. I'm already full. Like I can't even try to stuff myself anymore. And it's not even because I'm literally tracking everything I'm seeing. Sometimes I'll just implement everything later on in the day. So it's not even implemented right at the moment. It depends, right? So like if I go out to eat, for example, I don't know what the heck I'm eating, but I'll still guesstimate it when I get home for fun. And I'll reach maybe 22 to 2,800 calories. Hypothetically, could have been more. Because sometimes the vodka and all that stuff that you're drinking goes to get calculated. So anyways, but it doesn't affect me. Like before, it would have affected me. So you have to know where you're at and why you're doing it. Weekends, I do not track. I like to have fun, and no matter what, I'm having fun, right? But I'm a Taurus. We love structure. It's just in my nature. It's what I love. Like I feel good doing it. Same thing with my period. And I'm going to say something too about that, tracking your period. I felt at first like it was stressful because I would notice I've always been a girl to get your period 30 to 35 days, never 28. One time it came 28. I'm like, oh, I have a better cycle. I'm thinking 28 is a healthy number. What the heck is healthy? It's you, it's all about you, So people have this theory like, oh, if I don't hit 28, and it goes to 30, I'm off. Or if I'm go to 33, I'm off. No, you have from 28 to 35 days in a normal cycle. So learn your luteal phase, learn your follicular phase, learn how you are week to week. I can tell you when I'm ovulating without even looking at my chart now. Because I have now, because of all my data collecting, this is how OCD I am. I know, sorry. It's a perfectionist in us. But now I can tell when I'm ovulating. I could tell, or around the week of ovulating, you heard me? Week of ovulation. I can tell when my menstrual cycle is coming, when my progesterone's on the rise. Like I feel it. I feel my change in my moods, and I feel my hunger. Especially when I eat more, I already know, okay, progesterone is rising. Or something like, or no, I'm sorry. When progesterone's rising, I'm usually more sleepy. It's during ovulation, which at that point, yes, progesterone's going to start rising right after ovulation. So I'll notice it. Some people get hungry during the period. I actually lose my appetite during my period.
Me too.
Because estrogen usually curbs
the week appetite. Before I'm really hungry.
Yeah, that's progesterone's at the highest at that point. So that and I'm sleepy. so I learned this, and I use it. See, I use my data to help me not overtrain. So I know, okay, I'll do more cardio. Like my cardio, by the way, is a 3-speed at 2.5 to 3 incline walk. Okay, guys. So that's my running. It's like a turtle. But that makes me feel good. And I know I can still get a cycle. I'm moving my body because I love movement. I am naturally a hyper person. So I feel like the gym calms me down. I'm really into dancing. And since I don't get to dance anymore, we don't go to the clubs anymore. I'm getting old or something. I don't know. And COVID, etc. But the gym is like my club, like the dance area, whatever. So take it like that. Like it's where I get to feel my endorphins come up. And it's good to stress your body a little bit, but it's not good to overly stress it. And that's why I keep saying about balance. We have this now. It depends though. Are you recovered or not recovered? Because then those are whole two different phases. When you're in recovery, I feel like you need to do more relaxation. When you're already recovered and you've had a year of menstrual cycles already, now you get to play around and learn your body and learn what triggers it, what doesn't, how far can you take it, how much stress is your body able to handle. You're now you get to use all this information that you learned throughout the first year of recovery to now take it to the next step. Because there's ways. The reason why I do it is because I'm scared of relapse. And I noticed when I wasn't tracking, when I wasn't just letting my body be and doing things the way I like to do, when I was overthinking about what's right and what's wrong. If I had an extra cupcake, let's say, I started getting guilty because, oh wait, that's wrong. People are gonna judge me. Fear of judgment, I think is what gets us the most of anything. We're afraid that we're not recovered enough, or people are going to judge me because now I'm recovered and I ended up gaining some weight back, or now I'm recovered and I got too skinny. Either way, I feel like you're getting judged, and that's the bad thing about social media. But then again, why do you care? Just go for your wants. So I had to keep telling myself this stuff. And like I said, through all this learning that I've been doing, it's okay to track. It's okay now because it keeps me in control. I guess that's a bad way to use it when you're in recovery, but it's okay.
Yeah, but I think what
I
you're
think it's
getting at,
okay.
which is really important, is that all of these things are tools. And as you said,
Mhm.
if they have a positive effect on your life, there is no reason why you shouldn't use them, because it's not exercise and dieting and all that that actually made us get HA. It's how we used those things against ourselves that caused HA. So if you can use tracking to enable you to lead better lifestyles that actually make you feel empowered, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you cycle tracking and you tracking your food sort of sporadically actually gives you the confidence to go, no, I am doing all the right things. Like I can see this and I can see that. And it gives you more faith in yourself and I guess that intuitive side to make decisions around training and around food, versus when you
Yes.
don't have the data, you feel like it's more of a guessing game. It's like, but did I eat too much? Did I eat too little? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? And therefore your life feels erratic, even though,
It's a
yeah,
sorry.
no,
It's
you
a
go.
guessing game, but it causes flare-ups too.
Yeah,
Like you want to do things so perfectly, and then because you're not, for me anyways, because I don't have the data, because again, I just love data. I'm an analytical person. Because I don't have it, it's the fears will start coming up. Like, wait, but maybe I'm under eating now,
yeah,
or if I end up having extra of too much stuff that I just want to have and having just because, I'll judge myself for doing it instead of just saying, hey, it's okay. You know, you've been tracking yourself, you've been doing good. One day, if you want to have an extra 1,000 calories, why not? You know,
yeah.
like
But
it
but
might
it
sound
works for
stupid.
you. It like enables you, and
Yeah, like it actually, yeah, it makes me
yeah,
feel, it's like my comfort.
yeah. And I think it's
Mhm.
like I like that we're bringing this conversation to the forefront, because exercise tracking of any sort can be demonized, like post HA, and I really don't think it should be for the exact reasons that you're bringing up right now. It's like you're using tracking to actually give you the confidence to make the decisions that you make. You're not using
Yes,
tracking to sort of cage yourself in and dictate all of what you should and what you shouldn't do. The way your mind works with it literally allows you to feel free.
yes.
Yeah.
Perfect way to say
No,
it.
because you can tell the way you're articulating it. And I think sometimes for some women, they get scared to endure the HA recovery process because they feel like they can't go back to things that make them feel comfortable. And I want to be very cautious with what I just said, because there's two elements to that. As you
Yeah, I
said,
was
you
just,
took 1 year off tracking. You
mhm.
healed that side of the compulsion to do it, the obsessiveness to do it. And then when you had this beautiful clean slate, you decided, you know what? I kind of like tracking in this capacity. It has a positive effect. I feel good. But you had a solid year of none of it. And I think that's a
Yeah,
really important part, because, you know, we all like to cherry pick things. I'm sure there's someone listening to it being, I told you I should be able to track. And the thing is,
yeah.
you might need some time off. Like, full disclaimer, time off is fantastic and incredibly restorative for your mind.
Ugh, for your mind, your body, everything. I just feel like sometimes you just need that break. It's like a getaway. And look at it like
Yeah.
that. It's like a year vacation. That's what I feel like my first year was like a year vacation. And to this day, even some of my friends or some girls that will contact me would ask me questions about that. Like, oh, but do you track or but do you this? I'm like, honey, are you recovered? That I was like, but you know, if you're gonna go back to when I was in recovery, it's a completely different Odaly. So, you know, like I understand that some people don't want to go quote unquote all in and they don't want to just binge or whatever. First of all, I don't consider it a binge. I know that this is probably not the correct way of stating this, but I'm going to say it this way. Your body is kind of like a bank account in a way, and all those lack of calories and nutrients that you gave it, it's asking for it back. So you have to pay it back. And so let's say you've been doing this, you haven't had a menstrual cycle in what, 4, 5, 6 years, right? Guess what? It wasn't just because of stressing that you didn't get it. It was because you were obviously overtraining, under fueling. So, which is a negative and negative, two negatives there. It's not going to make a positive in this case. And now you need to pay it back. And it's going to take time to pay it back. Now, you want to go a slow approach? It might work for you, but it might just make you get re-triggered. So, in the end of the day, whether whoever's listening to this, in my personal opinion, we all have the same outcome. And the outcome to get recovered is going to be to gain some weight. Slow down. If you could stop completely, do so. If you can't, I understand. But it will make it 10 times easier for you. And I really wish I had someone tell me this. It would make it 10 times easier for you psychologically if you could
Yeah.
just stop.
It's such a drag.
If you
Like,
could
I
just
was
stop.
half in for 11 months. And of
Yeah.
course, at that time, that was the best I could do. Like, so I don't
Yeah.
regret it, because
Mhm.
if I hadn't have taken that step, I never would have tried in the first place. So I never condemn that sort of half in, because sometimes that's the best you've got with what you've got. But obviously hindsight is so powerful. And I look back at when I finally decided to go all in, and it was out of pure frustration. I was so sick of not achieving anything in the gym. I'm gaining weight anyway. Like, what joy is coming of this, that I just cracked it and went, that's it. I'm all in for 4 weeks. And in that 4 weeks, I did get my cycle back. But I look back now. Yeah, no, like when it happened, it happened. And I know that 11 months would have helped. Like, I know that if I had have gone all in right at the start, it could have taken me 6 months. I don't know. But I look back and go, oh my goodness, I actually could have saved myself so much mental despair if I had have had the capacity to go all in sooner, but I just didn't. But as you said, if I had have had someone sort of planting the seed of, what are you prolonging by not going all in, and just not making me do anything, because of course no one ever could have made me do it, but just entertaining the thought of, what is there to gain by exercising as much as you think you can to recover, versus just going, oh, let's just give my body everything that it needs so that I can get over this quick. Like, let's just rip that Band-Aid. Because that's what I used to think about. I can't wait to get back to training. I can't wait to get back to training. And as you said, your post-HA life is so different to HA life. And I'd love to talk about what you're training and things like now, but for the most part, I train 5-6 days a week. My period comes, I feel good. I'm happy with how I look. But that wasn't my HA time, you know, and there is that, like I think you also mentioned you have women DM you about your training and tracking and things like that now. And I get the same thing. They're like, oh, I see you training and you did some HIIT, or you're training X amount of days a week, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, I am now. Like, yes, now, but that's not the HA remedy. That's your post HA.
That's what that's the thing we have to stop as a female in general. The comparison, just stop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
and my journey should be like hers and not hers. Let me take that path.
All you can do is take the advice, and okay, like even what you said about the 11-month
like
half-assing it.
It was such a half-ass. I'm like, I'll hold on to every last thread. I'll eat more, but don't take away the gym.
But the thing is, see, with me, it wasn't even the gym was an issue. Actually, the gym was hard for me for like a month. Yeah. Then I was like, 3 months is nothing. I can wait 3 cycles. Okay. Then COVID occurred. COVID was actually a lifesaver for me, probably. It was probably a lifesaver in the long term. Let's be real, because it kept me away. It kept me away for 8 months off the gym. But what I will say though, for me anyways, first of all, I don't know how to half-ass anything in life. It's just my personality. So I tried doing the half-in. I remember when I went to Dominican Republic, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna eat more. I'm gonna eat more. And I started going up weight. And it started psychologically, I swear, I feel like I was in more stress than ever. I think I was in more stress than when I just went to the KFC and ate my KFC. Like, it was.
But do you think that's so because you had committed to the goal? Because that's what I think about the half in versus all in from like my personal experience anyway. Half of the mental stress was that I didn't have an official goal. I was holding on to like 2 things and not fully committing. But when I went all in, it was like, rest is my priority. Like, that is what I'm going to do. And nourishment's my priority.
You probably did have a goal though, because you wanted your menstrual cycle back. So that's the main goal.
But the half in, because I was still training, my training goal was non-existent. It was more like, I'm here because mentally I have to be. I can't survive my day without it. But it wasn't the substance that I normally get from training. And that's where I felt really stuck, because it's like I'm doing it for more the routine of it than the actual progression.
It's like the high.
Yeah. And I'm like, why is it working anymore?
It's the dopamine. It's the dopamine. So dopamine makes you feel so good.
Very
and
good.
Even if we don't want to do it, but because we did do it, we get to like give us the top, you know? So it's like a little ego that we have. And it makes us feel good. But at the end of the day, we're just killing ourselves. And I don't know. I feel like, so for me, it was a stressor. And what I kept doing was, if I kept gaining weight so slow, it hurt me more, because I just wanted to lose it back. It's so easy to lose 5 pounds. But when I actually just went all in, and it was like 10 pounds literally a week, like, it was crazy. But
but like, let's highlight the fact that you can laugh about this process. And I'm sure it was very difficult for you in the moment, right? Because some are probably listening being like, this isn't funny because it's so emotional at the time. But
girl,
timing heals everything.
Like
of course you were. You would have been devastated. But look at where you are now, 2 years ahead.
But I was also working with it. And you know what? I had to teach my subconscious. Like I knew. I kept telling myself, it's okay because girl, you're gonna get it back. And I just kept loving myself. Yeah. I know it sounds really weird, but I just started loving myself more and more. My face was glowing, like my hair was growing, my nails were growing. I started looking at all the positives, taking away that I don't want, putting in the wants, and I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. And then I started dating. Like I started going on dates all the time. I just kept, even though I was like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, like I did not feel sexy. I did not feel whatever, but I just knew I needed to get out there. So it was like, all right, I'm in recovery. Let me just get out there and just have fun with it. Because if in the end of the day, what you're gonna do, lock yourself in a room and cry all day? I was already doing that with these damn estrogen rise that was occurring. I was from feeling like a guy all the time. Like I was just like
no emotion. Yeah.
I had
like no blank canvas.
My daughter was the only one that gave me emotion. So it was that's weird.
Yeah,
she's the only one that made me feel anything. Other than that, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care to go to family events because I was too tired. My stomach was always bloated. I started thinking I had gluten issues. Like I started blaming everything out of fear. But we have this thing with fear that is just ridiculous. Fear is the unknown. We're dealing with the unknown almost every single day when we wake up in the morning. We do not know what's going to happen. Matter of fact, girl, you don't even know if you're going to wake up in the morning. So the thing is, we take life for granted. All right. We take a lot of things on life for granted. And I started noticing that, including our bodies, including everything, our food that we get to have and other people don't, we take everything for granted. So instead, I had to reteach myself, like, enjoy the process, the same way I do with bodybuilding. Enjoy the process, enjoy each day, and stop taking it for granted. This is you today. This is not you tomorrow. Whatever you want to achieve in life, you will achieve it. It is what it is. You're going to get anything you want. But if you keep thinking, oh, I'm not going to get this, or this is not going to happen, then guess what? It's not going to happen. That's the best way I can tell you. So if you really want recovery, you have to change your subconscious thought to what you want. And that's, I would say, to me, it's for everything in life. So I definitely advise reading The Greatest Secret. If anybody hasn't read it yet, get it fast, okay? But once you learn about happiness and you learn what real happiness is and where it evolves from, I think it changes your train of thought 100 times. Like it's, I don't want to settle in life. And listen, nothing in life is perfect. We're gonna have highs and we're gonna have lows because it's life. But lows is what you make it. You can cry over something, or you can learn from it and move on. Feelings are feelings. They're your own feelings. Learn to deal with them and cope with them how best you can, but don't implement them onto somebody else. These are things that you have to keep teaching yourself. Nobody out there is judging you. And if they are, those are not people you want to be around anyways. So it's like, you have to learn how to take what's in your environment and make it to be what you want to be around daily. And I feel like these are things that I had to learn and reteach myself. Because before I felt like I was portraying to be someone that I'm not. You know what I mean? Of course.
Okay, let's talk about that though, because that's so obviously, as you know, I'm a mindset coach, and a big part of the things that I work with clients, a lot of it comes from firsthand experience of what I went through to get my period back, other women that I've spoken to. And, the fundamentals of it is rewiring your thought processes. And as you've pointed out a couple of times, which is what you do want, not what you don't want. Because if we're always saying what we don't want, that's all we can think about is what we don't want. And then that's not motivating to anybody, and it's depressing, and it's just awful, really. So a few fundamentals you've pointed out is always focusing on what you do want, seeing the joy in every opportunity that comes your way, even if it's something negative. It's like, well, you've learned something from it. So what can you use that for now? And then with I guess that's something that comes up a lot. And because you've lived this process and it's something that you still do 2 years on, the common thing is, I can't say these things to myself. I can't say I love myself. I can't say I love my hair, or that I'm happy about this, because I'm not happy about it. And that really, like, everyone's telling me I need to think this positive way, but the resistance that comes with it, because I don't believe it, I don't feel it, it's not true. Like, that we can be a bit sassy about it, really. It's like, that doesn't work. what do you say to those women hearing the advice of speak nicely to yourself, look at the positives, teach yourself this new thought process or all the new thought processes, because there's a lot, and they're going, what do you say to them?
All right. Well, let me tell you something. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. But no. Oh, wait,
No, I laugh because I
But
say that too, because that's what it is sometimes. Keep saying it until you believe it.
it's no, because it is reteaching. The subconscious is so strong. People have no idea. Sometimes they think that they're literally just thinking and processing stuff because it's just how they do it. I was like, where do you think you got it from? You've been training yourself with those thoughts for months in and years. It didn't just come out of nowhere. You had to train it. So that's your subconscious, by the way. So training the subconscious, retraining the subconscious, it's literally, to me, it's faking it sometimes. If you're not in the state of mind of believing it. Again, everybody's different, but I will also say it's okay to cry. It's okay to go through these angers. It's okay to go through your feelings. You have to accept those feelings too. And that's another issue. People don't accept being hurt.
You definitely need to feel everything to get through it. Yeah. Because I think that's half the crutch of training and exercise is, even though, yes, we love it, no doubt about that, but there is some sort of reliance as if I am upset about something, I'll train it out because you've got that dopamine response and it makes you feel good. And it's a beautiful shelter from things that are upsetting you. It's like, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm just going to go train instead. And it can be seen as such a positive decision because everyone's like, exercise is so good for you and your mental health. And it is. But so only if you're leaning into the problem and fixing it as well. Like you do need both.
Yes, but it's with everything. It's not even just with training. It's the dopamine kicks in every which way, right? So with food, with the people you're around, with what you're doing for work, for school, whatever, as a parent, all these things, you're going to have moments of depressed moments or whatever. You're going to have a lot of happy moments too. This is why even eating disorders come about, right? It's not just one thing. Usually you have to look all the way into your traumas, right?
Yeah.
To really heal. So maybe people, depending on how deep in you are, you have to kind of go all the way back to childhood, maybe, to really figure it. It's not one answer to this. You have to find your truth, your story, and write it. Because at the end of the day, we're all different. And I can only speak behalf of my story. And the more and more I started realizing, like I'm gonna be honest with you, it was in recovery that I kind of started noticing that I was actually triggered since I was younger of why all this was even happening. It just came to light, obviously, during recovery, right? Yeah. So everything negative that I was going through, instead of me healing it, I was just blaming myself. Okay. And it's so easy to just blame yourself and start hating yourself and start putting yourself down and then trying to make yourself quote unquote better, giving this fake persona of whom you are by wearing a mask. Okay. And showing the world, oh, but I'm Wonder Woman. I could do it all. When in reality, it's okay to ask for help. If you've been through something, it's okay to have people there to hold you. It's okay to express it. It's okay to cry. You need to, and whoever knows me will tell you that I don't think I ever shed a tear until I was 15 years old. And after that, it's so hard for me to shed a tear because I feel embarrassed when I cry. It took me to give birth to my daughter to finally start crying. And even then, during the whole competition season, I don't even know if I ever cried, besides the fact I was happy. So I would hold in all my anger and everything. And I feel like those are little things that maybe made me feel so empty that I would turn to food, or I would turn to exercise, or you have to find what's your triggers and why you do these things. And don't just do it because you want to compete with someone else. Do it because it's for you, and understand that recovery and health is also for you. And it is doable. It is possible. It's just you have to find your way of doing it. But in the end of the day, I'm going to be real and I'm going to say it again. We all have the same ending, meaning that you are most likely 99.9999% going to have to gain weight and have to slow down. And the thing is, it's so hard. And I'm going to say this again. It's so hard due to society and what society is portraying on IG, Facebook. What other social media platforms are out there? TikTok now? I don't know. There's like so many. I don't like social media for this reason. It's such a beautiful thing, yet it's also a curse, especially for females, because I feel like our tribe cannot be so huge. And this makes it unlimited. And there's so much going on there that you think is real and it's not. Or maybe it is real to an extent, but you're trying to portray it on your life. And that's not your life. That's not who you are. That's not how you're going to recover. That's not how you're going to handle anything. You have to figure out your own way of being. but just know in the end, you're trying to be healthy. So what is going to make you healthy, and how are you going to portray that? Like how are you going to get there? And don't try to do it alone. It's great to have people who love you by you. If you could do it with people, that's, I had my little girl. So fine, a 9-year-old, well, she was 8 years at that age. She was 8 years old. She was my rock. She made it more fun. So an 8-year-old helped me. You'll be blessed if you have a husband or a best friend or, whatever family members that can help you. There's nothing better than that can come over to you and have date nights with you and eat a lot of junk food and make sure you're eating and having fun while you're doing it. Or if it's not junk food, you want just extra calories. Usually it's fats that we're missing, because a lot of people neglect fats and carbs. They want to eat all these proteins, but they're not eating the sources of fuel to fuel the body and the brain. So, and again, to slow down the gym, maybe instead of going to the gym and make it more fun, go for a walk I used to go hiking with my daughter, or go to the pool or go to the beach. And if you don't feel comfortable for that, find something that makes you feel comfortable. But again, sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. So you have to kind of train that brain of yours on loving who you are now and only thinking about what it is you want. And for me at that point was recovery. So I wanted recovery. I wanted love. I wanted to, slow down a little bit when it came to competition and whatnot, and let my daughter see what a family looks like. That was my want. And that's what I'm going for, because it's my want and manifesting it. So we'll see what happens in the end.
I love it. I love everything that you've been saying. And I think you brought up so many important things, especially, delving into your emotions and the importance of human connection. Social media, as you said, we feel like we've got all of these connections because we know the people on the gram and we talk to the people on Facebook and all that sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, support groups and posts and blogs and all that, they're incredibly helpful. But I do think that there's something so much more special and helpful about face-to-face conversation and eating together. And I know, actually, I'd love to hear your take on it. That's one thing I found throughout my recovery process is I used to see food as almost a nothing, like it was just something I consumed to keep me going. There was no real joy attached to it or fun in consuming it or prepping it or anything like that. It was just a very robotic sort of process. And then now when I see food with family and things like that, whether it be Christmas or a birthday or honestly even just going for lunch, you can almost see the ritual behind food now, where it's not just food, it's connection, it's sharing something with somebody, it's being able to have a good time and a good conversation. Have you noticed that your enjoyment of people when eating has shifted from, back then when you were, say, competing or even during HA recovery to where you are now?
I'm laughing because I was the girl with the Tupperware everywhere. Okay. So, I always enjoy food. I used to make even my competition foods delicious when I was home. So that wasn't really my problem. My problem was maybe with family, yes. But family, I wouldn't eat. Now I go to my mother's house. So I'm in New Jersey now. My mother's in Queens. So when we do get to go over there, I actually go eat my mother's food. I'm still nitpicky, don't get me wrong, because I still have my likes and whatnot. Like, I'm not going to change who I am, but it's different. Before I wouldn't even eat it. Like, you tell me now, she goes, mommy, I love yuca. Whoever used to follow me on Instagram in my competition days knows I'm obsessed with yuca. It's a very starchy vegetable, but it's very starchy and dense. Like, it's high carbohydrate. It's so delicious. And now I would eat like a bunch of yuca with some red onions up to it, with some whatever she makes, like salami. I'm not big on salami unless it's beef salami, but whatever she's making now, I'll actually eat it. She'll make me a bunch of chicken in the oven, which my mom does not cook healthy, guys. Okay, at all. Whoever knows, Dominican people do not. But her lasagna, her moto, whatever. Like, I'm a nibbler. Like, I call myself a nibbler now. Like, I eat a little bit of everything. Just give me. You can have 10 dishes there. I want a little bit of everything, as long as it's not seafood. And I just don't like seafood. But other than that, like, I want to try it all now. Before, I was restricted to do so. And if I did do it, it was a guilt right away. And that's
so, like, even if you would to draw that comparison, because you said you liked your meal prepped meals and things like that, do you find that the visits with your mum are different when you would show up with your Tupperware tub and she's cooked this massive spread and you're kind of like eating, she's secretly looking at you like, what the heck are you doing? I've cooked up this incredible feast. And versus now where you're like, I'll taste this and I'll taste that. Does it, like, emotionally, does it feel different?
Well, let's just go back to what my mom thought first. My mom did not, thank God, she knew I was competing. She knew what I was doing, whatever. So she didn't judge me based on it because she knew I ate a lot.
Yeah.
So she knew I was eating 6 meals or whatever. So to her, she thought it was a lot, even though
Yeah.
it was a negative calorie intake. But either way, she wasn't fearful that I wasn't eating. So that I can honestly say, but it definitely is a different emotion now, because now even like for New Year's, I got to eat my family's food, which I don't remember when I was even Christmas or whatever. I don't remember sitting down at my family's table and eating their meal in a long time. So now I get to go there, you know, see what my mom made, and I get to nibble around. So it's definitely more enjoyable. It's not like if I go out to eat now, I have to be so. There's just certain things I just don't like. Like I do not like.
Which is
really
so different to choosing things out of fear, though. You know,
yes, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
and it's like part of the recovery process is experimenting with foods that you normally wouldn't permit yourself to have. But if the outcome is you just don't like it, well, that's okay. You just don't like it. But it's whether you're choosing not to have it purely out of like dislike, or whether you're choosing not to have it because you're afraid of the calories or what it's going to do, or all those sorts of things, where it sounds like you've gone through the process of, no, I'm going to like taste everything. And that just turns out that these are my favorites and these I'm going to pass on because I don't like it. Yeah.
So now it's like, it's definitely way more enjoyable, and I get to have fun. And if I want something bigger than 200 calorie meal, I'm allowed to have 500, 800, 1,000 calorie meal. You know, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So that's what I'm trying to say. So you get to enjoy now whatever it is you want without that fear, which again, fear is just an unknown. So until you go through it and you make it known, you have nothing to worry about. But you're only going to know that if you go through it. So it's definitely learning and experiencing, and it's a whole different Odie. For sure.
I love it. Now, thank you so much for all of the time that you've given us today. And I feel like I could just speak to you for hours on end, because you're so positive, and you can just see that you, I guess, the embodiment of what we're trying to achieve when we're going through HA recovery, which is that real self-discovery and knowing what you want and actually going for it and enjoying the process. And you can tell the way that you speak and how effortless the conversation is for you, that this is your life now. Like, it's not this fake it till you make it. It's not even a constant effort to remind yourself to think a particular way, act a particular way. It's like you've done this process for long enough. You've given it time, you've given it space, you keep researching and reading new things, and you've just created this environment now where you flourish almost effortlessly, because even if something negative happens, you just know how to process it to make it a good outcome, versus just seeing the negative and going, oh God, it's going to stay negative forever. Like, we're not saying that your life is this picture perfect, all positive bubble. It's not. But the
try
way
to make
you,
it.
of course, but the way you interpret things now, you've got the power to just see a better outcome regardless.
It's just rewiring a lot. It's a lot of rewiring and remembering your worth and your value. And once you know that, it becomes effortless. So that was, I guess that was what I needed. And I feel like it was definitely made me feel a lot lighter mentally. It made me feel free. And it's okay to want to feel beautiful. It's okay to want to be in shape and be healthy and optimize, quote unquote, your body and your health and your mind, state of mind. But what does optimization really mean for you? You know, what is that? And that's what people have to really go deep into learning. So it took me time to learn all these terminologies, because I feel like it's so broadened and people take it one way and it's actually not healthy. So you have to relearn everything kind of again when you're going through recovery. But once you're recovered, it becomes easy. And now I can hear things that doesn't trigger me. I know my wants, like I said, I only think about those. And that's what I'm going for to this day. And I think if you think like that, it makes it easier. Just know your wants and write your story.
I have one more question before we finish up, because I was just thinking, obviously, we're 1 year away from where we were when we last spoke. When you think about the way you perceive reality, what your goals and wants are, just, I guess, your general thought processes now, do you feel like the direction you've taken seems easier than what it was, say, a year ago? Because obviously you had all these things in place anyway. You've been working on this for quite some time. But do you feel like, say, 12 months later, that it is more innate in your brain, where it's not always old thought replaced with new thought?
I'm sorry. What do you mean by that? Like, do I feel like now this year versus last year, it's it's like if it's effortless, like I'm not thinking about it. Is that kind of like what you're saying?
Like, is
I want to make sure I'm hearing correctly.
the rewiring that you've been doing for this duration of time, do you feel like it's almost innate now? Like you've had another 12 months of thinking a particular way and rewiring these thoughts and practicing a new way of living, that now there's not sort of that conscious effort of, oh, I shouldn't have thought that, think this instead, that it kind of just
actually, okay, for the most part, I'm going to say yes, for the most part. But I will say, I think trigger will always be part of us, like a part of our lives, because that's when the imperfection kind of comes in, into our minds. Like, I'm going to tell you, it's so rare. And it's funny. This is why I had to relearn my cycle, like to the T. When I was craving those extra foods or whatever, I guess during ovulation or whatever. I craved twice. So I start craving carbohydrates during ovulation, and more like chocolates and stuff, and sweets and fatty type stuff during the last week before my menstrual cycle. And I wouldn't understand why I was craving so much. So sometimes I would just eat a lot more, and I started getting guilt thoughts like, but why am I doing so well all these weeks? Like I'm eating normal.
One week, the wheels fall off.
And yes. And then I had to go and start going through my notes and figuring out like, oh, I'm ovulating, or I'm like I actually had to. It's okay. The body knows what it's doing. It's asking you for this for a reason. Find out what's that reason, instead of always thinking that it's bad.
Yeah, so knowledge is power, literally. Yeah, I went through the same thing with that attachment. I'm like, my eating habits are fairly similar all the time. Like, because I just like the food that I eat.
My friend said that to me.
But I did find the week before,
like, I just like it.
Yeah, I just like it. And the thing is, I don't want to spend all this time thinking of new recipes. Like, I like cooking, but I don't like it that much to be like
and the weekend every
week.
Saturday and Sunday, I hate thinking about food. I just want to eat when I want.
Yeah.
But Monday through Friday, I love my regimen in the sense where I change one or two things like dinner time, because I'm cooking things differently here. But other than that, breakfast, lunch, and the third, fourth meal, pretty the same.
And I like it.
Dinner time's
it's easy, and I like it. But I did find that week before my period starts, is I would always be craving chocolate. And now I can't have dairy. It makes my skin break out like crazy. But I know I want chocolate. Like, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't want it any other time of the month. And then all of a sudden now I want it. And then I remember reading, the hormonal fluctuations, and even the fact that your body can need anywhere from 100 to 300 calories extra that week before your bleed, because it's building the lining up. And I remember reading that and being like, oh, okay, there's two really good reasons why this is happening. And it's got nothing to do with willpower. It's got nothing to do with letting go. Not actually, no, I never think that I'm letting go anymore. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I would question, why is this week different to all the other weeks? And you're right. You couldn't help but jump to something somewhat negative. And I think that's old behaviors kicking in. It's that old wiring trying to peep its head in and be like, this is a good window of opportunity. Let's make her feel bad about it. And then, I learned this information and it just dismissed it instantly. I was like, well, you're a little bit hungry, because you should be. Like, your body's doing a lot of stuff right now. And, power disabled. It was no longer an issue.
Women just have it. Ladies, you guys have it hard. Guys, I'm not saying that you guys don't have it semi-difficult, I guess. If they're hearing this, I highly doubt it, but for the women, we
do have a few boyfriends listed in, surprisingly enough, which is cute.
All right, so guys, you guys are very lucky. Okay, testosterone is pretty much like this, tiny things here and there. And women, we're a different person every week. We're a different person every week. And women, seriously, you need to learn this. Learn how we are in the follicular phase, learn how we are in the luteal phase. It is super important. The more you learn about moods and everything, oh my gosh, you'll understand why you feel certain ways. Why is your libido so high during ovulation? It's part of evolutionary reasons. Why is why are you craving so much during progesterone time? Because your body's ready to make a baby. Why during menstrual cycle usually you might not want anything or whatever? It's because your body's disposing of when you didn't have a child. So there's so many things that are just going on, and the more you learn and get in tune with your body, knowledge seriously is power. Like, it's just, and you get to learn, like, even how to help your partner. So if you're dating somebody and they actually want to learn with you, some guys don't listen, right? I'm sorry, guys, just don't listen. But if you listen to your woman who actually knows, she'll tell you what she needs during these phases. Like, there's a phase where we need more attention. There's a phase when we need less attention. There's And these things can actually help build us up more and help us build our estrogen and everything. So it can actually help us with fluctuations. So, so anyways,
there's actually In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti, which you may have read because a lot of the things you're talking about, she goes into depth about, but her app is literally In the Flow. It's not the feather one, it's the circle. But you can actually connect your partner up to the app. So when you're at different phases of your cycle, the app will give your partner a heads up being like, hey, she might need a little bit more emotional connection right now. She might need a little bit more distance right now. And even when it comes to being intimate, it's like, okay, you might need to do X, Y, Z to get in the mood at this time because, your hormones are lower, or perhaps, ladies spicy and ready to go. And those little bits of information, if men are, willing to perceive it. And obviously the app's not perfect. It's just little indicators of how you can, I guess, deepen the connection. It is quite helpful because, as you said, you're like, we're a beautiful complicated.
Yes.
We're a very beautiful complicated. But if you can empower that, wonderful things happen.
It's hard. It's hard. And listen, it is what it is. We're not easy. And it's hard being in a relationship, period, because we all want certain things, but just stick with what you want. And hopefully you guys can all make it work and get to learn your own flow and get to learn your own state of mind. And just all I got to say, girls, is recover. Just get recovered. Because after that, it gets so much better
and fun. Yeah.
There's gonna be some fun times. Other times it will be hard. But
I feel like just that, it's a new level of experience, definitely. But that chase of when's my period coming, to have that ease, I found fun because it was like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And then the fact that it wasn't there, like it was a new there, because it's like, when is it going to come? As in like 28 days, 30 days. But it seemed somewhat easier to just a generalized, what is going on?
And also just try your best to let it go mentally and let it just come on its own, because sometimes we stress ourselves out
so much.
And we put so many things into our heads and whatnot, and the brain really stresses us out. So it's like, you gotta, relax it sometimes. So whatever,
and that is a conscious effort though. It's like, no, just go with it. Just relax. It'll come when it's ready. Like literally, you can't make it come by thinking about it.
The body is so smart. It'll do its thing when it got to.
All right, my love, we need to wrap things up, as I have a little Hesima who's like, hello. But thank you so much for your time. You have dropped so many incredible words of wisdom, and oh my goodness, I feel just as excited as I did the last time I spoke with you, because I feel the passion and the power that comes through the way that you're living right now. And I'm sure so many other women that are listening right now, like, okay, this is what I got to do. I've just got to pick what I want and I've got to go for it. Now, if anyone wants to reach out, I will pop your Instagram handle in the show notes, and they can obviously have a chat with you. But yeah, as always, it is such a delight chatting with you, and I'm so grateful for your time.
Thank you, hon.
Thank you so much for listening on today's episode. I hope you absolutely loved it. As always, if you could share this podcast with someone who you think would enjoy it, or subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing, as the more support we get, the more women that we can reach. As always, I hope you got something out of it as well, and I'm so grateful for you being here and joining us today. We will see you in the next one.